Hi everyone, welcome to our discussion about multimodal literacies. So this lesson will be very helpful for those who will need to create multimodal advocacies or campaigns, especially in the subject purposive communication, and also for future teachers who need to learn the 21st centuries, such as multimodal literacies, which is one of the most important competencies or skills needed by learners in order to survive in the 21st century world. So without further ado, please give me a moment to share my presentation. So for our first slide, let us first discuss the things or the objectives for our lesson. So first, we will have more ideas on how to communicate using technology. For sure, you already have your own experience. But talking about the different modes in multimodal texts and advocacy can still be an advantage. Next is we can be able to evaluate multimodal texts. With the emergence of different multimodal texts, audiovisual presentations, it is becoming more and more important for us learners to know how to evaluate the multimodal texts, their message, and their nature. And lastly, you can be able to create and present your own multimodal advocacy campaign or vlog for my other subjects using the knowledge and ideas that you may learn from this lesson. First, let us begin with an example, very simple example of a multimodal text. So when you say multimodal, so it contains different modes. Before that, let us talk about the poster. What can you see in this poster? There's the text. Pedestrians don't come with airbags. And then there is a subtitle, which is a smaller font. Yield to pedestrian when turning. So there are different sizes to create the emphasis. And then there is the impactful picture. What do you see in the picture? What do you think happened with the girl? And what is the greater message of this? So it is a reminder for all drivers, vehicle owners, to be more mindful of the pedestrians or the people crossing the streets whenever they are driving. So, what made this multimodal text powerful? Another element is space. If you will pay attention to the white background, it's a clear background, meaning there's nothing to look into that, there's nothing to focus on. Creating or putting the emphasis or the focus back on the image and the main message. Pedestrians don't come with airbags. And that's focus is created by a good combination of the text, of the image, and of course, the white space or the blank space. Because sometimes posters, it is not good for them to have a very noisy background. So let's talk about the image, and then it is combined with text, and lastly there's the sound. Okay, you can also add sound to this poster in order for it to be more persuasive and to engage more and more audiences. So first mode, there's the image. Second mode is text. And third, if we can add an audio, if you can clip an audio that will create a background music or sound about this picture, it will even look more engaging. But when teaching this, you should first recognize what are the modes of technology or the activities of our learners. For students here, what are the things that you are doing during class and after classes? Of course, during classes, you have your gadgets, pictures, you have your internet connection, social media sites, and other references that you do during class. Those are the things that you are doing. And these are the application, there are the applications and websites that can help you. But after class, when there are no classes, whenever it is your free day, what are the things that you do? Aside from computers and cell phones, do you also have other hobbies, activities at home or outside? So, what are the apps or the activities that you're having or you're doing? Do these things and elements may be able to determine your multimodal capacity? Take a moment to list down the things that you do in and out of school. So these talents and skills that you have or that you practically use can help us in coming up with our own multimodal text. Did you compose an email or text? Did you read an email or text? So it's if yes, from whom? So if you're a student, it means that you always have an access to emails or texts, then that will be an advantage. For the future teachers here, if we have identified that our students or learners have an easy and daily access to emails and texts, it signifies another advantage. Let us also pay attention to the other items. Do you go onto a website? What websites do you visit? It means that do you have an access with the websites that you are using? Did you read a book? Which books? So it will be great to know if you and learners are still reading books or those solid, even those solid books that we have other than websites. You read a magazine. Why is it important to learn if they are reading books and magazines? Because it says how the learners, okay, how we and the other learners are trying to extract and get information. What are our primary sources of information? In addition to the internet, did you take a picture? What did you photograph? It doesn't only say, it doesn't only reveal our access to cameras, but also our passion. Did you record a video clip? What did you record? In these video recordings, we can see their other activities, hobbies that they do, whether it is related or not related to their academic requirements. You play video games, what video games do you play? This is really good and beneficial to know more about our learners. Listen to music, what type of music or what song? Did you read a street sign? Where? What does it say? So the places where our students go will also have an influence onto them, especially when they need information. These places may also help them. Do you read directions in a bottle or box? And lastly, did you post to a social networking site today? Which site? And we may also ask what their post is all about, especially if they will be willing to share it or to say something about it. When it comes to multimodality, we're not always talking about the high technology or high tech outputs. Some multimodals can also be low tech, medium tech, which is lying between low tech and high tech, and of course high tech, which uses advanced application and programs. So there's a topic today. We'll try to learn more about multimodal literacies, not through not just through definitions or textual definitions, not just from textbooks or research findings. Let us try to examine some of the examples and practices. I will also love to share my own experiences using these multimodal materials in my own classrooms. First, this is an example of a low tech. Even without technology or electronic gadgets, so there's the flashcards. And a flashcard has a letter which is bigger when it comes to font so that it will be the focus. Then for letter B, there's the ball. There's the image or the picture of the ball. That's the second mode. Other than the big font, we have the ball, which is the object or the picture. And then the smaller font, which has the spelling or which has ball spelled out. So there are different types. To combine with the clear background, it creates a multimodal effect. And these flashcards are being utilized and they are very helpful for teaching learners from lower grades. So with the emergence of the K to 12, we are asking or teaching the students to get information from brochures, pamphlets, and video recordings, which are examples of multimodal decks. So according to Walsh in 2010, we have the resources. It can be print-based. Okay, even the printed out materials like the flashcards may have the multimodal characteristics. Of course, digital, wherein we can already edit this music, images, and sound. Multimodal, multimedia, even in spoken. If we are speaking, we can also use other um, modes like images, materials, costumes in order to create other modes that will help enhance our meaning. That's the focus of multimodal, having different modes expressing or enhancing the same meaning so that the students can read, respond, or even write these multimodal texts and they can create their own pamphlets, periodicals, and other outputs. They can be able to produce and generate their own, especially now that we put higher values to outputs, outcomes, and performance-based assessments. Example, in teaching English, we'll teach them how to make inferences. Other than our own examples, we can also present videos for them. In teaching how to make predictions, I will be showing them, let's say, the first 2 pages of the picture book, or I will ask them to read the first 2 to 3 paragraphs of the short story. Then after that, I'll be asking these questions. From just the title, when I presented them the title, what is the story about? What do you think will happen next? Even just by looking at the title. After reading certain portions, for example, the first 2 or 3 paragraphs, they can ask about how did your prediction turn out? Is your guess correct? What else might happen? Then I will ask them to continue reading the other parts of the book, read 2 more paragraphs, and we can ask them the same set of questions. What else happened? How did your prediction turn out? A while ago, I asked you about your prediction. Did it turn out to be correct or not? What do you think happened? Okay. What do you think? Why do you think your prediction didn't um, happen or didn't occur? Of course, it's just a prediction or guess. That's why there are chances for them to commit mistakes. But the fact that they are trying to explain the connection of the events and things logically can be a source of learning. In teaching vocabulary and other things, you can also try out other apps. There are many apps available that are free and are available. Here's another one in learning perspectives. Let me just try to sign in onto my account. Please give me 2 more minutes to log into my account, and we may first have a short break. Okay? We'll be right back. To all my students and learners here, welcome back to the second part of our discussion. So there is just a video clip which is based on the different games that have been popular, and we may use that in order to explain a topic in English or in teaching literature. Let me just share it. So I am going to be discussing different perspectives. Sometimes you can see the picture or the story from the eyes of a character. It is also used for first person point of views. It is coming from their own eyes, okay? It is their own eyes from which the story is told. There's the limit, and then there's the second point of view. The point of view is from another character. It may also be limited because, as you can see here, there's another character who is filming Mario, and it is from his eyes the story is told. He's the one telling the story. It's also a narrator, okay? It's a second perspective, but it's also a third person point of view, just like this. So in a third person point of view, it is coming from a different character. It is being told, okay? Or the third type of perspective, which can also be omniscient. Okay? In omniscient, they can already see everything that is happening, even in the minds or even surrounding the character. So that is just a very quick and simple example of how we are using videos in order to reinforce our lessons, especially that our students or youth nowadays are very inclined with these types of media or games. We can use some examples from this to get their attention. So how about in your own multimodal text when you create your own? To continue our discussion, we also have we can also create our version of a book through modernized films. We can have our own adaptation, even though we cannot imitate everything that happened in the book because they lived in a different setting. We can remake it and contextualize it so that it can be more relatable to our present setting. So here's a modernized film version of a book, okay, from animal form. So they're able to create a film out of the book. And this is an example of a multimodal text. And the students nowadays who are multimodal literate can create these films or can learn more about filmmaking. There are also more other examples of multimodal text. So for students of purposive communication, how will you reinforce your message? You can make a trailer, even just a short trailer, 2 to 3 minutes will do. Premiere, TV interview, just like what we are doing in class. In building and enhancing class, we ask them to create a talk show or to record a talk show, record a group interview, as well as print campaigns. You can design your posters, billboards based on the film that you created, or make your own magazines and newspapers, or even a music video. We can also require this for our students here in persuasive communication. Music videos can also be persuasive, especially to those who are musically inclined. Those people who are musically intelligent, or basically those who love music. In these subjects, during our other gradings, you may also be required to create a website, email promotion, or a social media page, blog reviews, or even vlogs, product endorsement, and other viral marketing campaigns. So if ever we will ask you to create an output, what will be your concept? What will be your style? You can choose from any of this. There will be more examples in the following slide, but you can also create a film festival with parade, exhibits, especially in actual classrooms. We are designing our classrooms to become exhibits, and there are these types of learners who learn so much from these exhibits. Film bills or playbills, it's a book or booklet about the play you create. They are describing each of the cast or some of the situations. Press conferences, you can record your own press conferences. For example, you will interview the cast or you will interview the politicians. You can also act or play their role. So these are some of the suggested in teaching journalism or other subjects, or even in purposive communication, persuasive communication, or building and enhancing multimodal literacies subjects. In any of my subjects, you can create a photo album, live feed, TV broadcast, cartoons, wiki article, which is collaborative. It's like Wikipedia. You can create your own. Google document, blog or vlog, documentaries, make your own website based on the topic assigned to you. Infographics, infomercials, very short commercial, which has a purpose to share content, and then also tutorial videos. So in our final output, you will be asked to create any of these in order to express your message or get your message across your audience. So here's another example. book reports. For future teachers of language and literature, you can ask them to create a book report. Last minute, because it can even be for 1 minute or even less. You can already create their own book report in just 1 minute. Any videos in just 1 minute, you can already um, share and say so many things. But and it also requires critical thinking because they have to summarize, okay, or to shorten their ideas in order to focus on the main uh, messages or key messages. This one, 3 minute speech, but in just 1 to 3 minutes, they can just sort their message, analyze what should be included in the speech and what shouldn't be in order to manage the time without the need to exceed 1 minute or here the required 3 minutes. They can also use graphic aids. Let's check this out, okay? I hope you can be able to hear the sound so that you can be able to hear how my previous student was able to incorporate textual features or graphic aids and effects such as subtitles and other pictorial representations in order to make her speech more informative, more um, engaging, and clear. Let me just share the system sound. So here's an example of an advocacy speech with graphic aids that we can also ask or we can also add to our presentations or video presentations to make it clearer, okay? And to not only to engage but to retain the attention of our audience. Let's watch this. You can see the different images that are appearing, even though we require each of the learners to stay in front of the camera and be visible all throughout the videos, you can still add these graphic aids, subtitles or captions or videos while you are speaking. But we don't need to replace our image or our own videos with other clips that are just found the references. We can still use our own voice. We can still use your own self as the main visual element. So the greatest visual aid is yourself, your gesture, your posture, and how you stand in front of the camera. The way you speak and how you present yourself visually can be an effective tool and be a very persuasive tool for the audience to listen more intently to your message. And then these graphic aids can be learned and you can use applications that will make them possible. With advanced applications nowadays, we know that it is already easy and convenient to add those graphic aids. But still, they are not losing their importance. They are still very helpful. Also, here's another speech, and this may last for more than 5 minutes. Let us not just focus on the graphic aids and the pictures that were added to this speech. Let's see how persuasive this speech has been. Delivered by a 12-year-old girl about how she sees things should be done differently from the adults of this time. Please listen. Do you also see the different techniques, persuasive appeals utilized by our speaker? So, for you, can it also be effective in reinforcing your own message? This is very important for our 21st century learners and for our students in purposive and persuasive communication. To review, these are some examples of graphic aids that we can add to your videos. When you create your vlog or your final video, which is a multimodal advocacy or a campaign video, it is important, essential, and will also be required for you to add or to utilize these graphic aids rather than a simple video. And of course, we have to evaluate. One of my favorite lessons in purposive communication is to evaluate the ability and this is the ability to critique and analyze how text not only informs or entertains. These texts, audiovisual presentations, not only informs but also manipulates. They may also control or dictate how the audience, okay, should think or should feel about the topic. And when we can be able to analyze or to interpret the manipulative element of these videos, if we can analyze the propaganda or the persuasive techniques, it's also another literacy experience. That's why multimodal texts or evaluating multimodal texts is also an important factor in teaching the new literacies across the curriculum. For the students in building and enhancing the new literacies, we also teach them how to evaluate these multimodal texts so that they cannot be easily misinformed by fake news and other references that are not true or just partially true. Some examples that I am requiring to my students: travel vlogs whenever we have educational tours or field trips. This one is in Corregidor. I asked them to create a video. I was the academic coordinator during that time. So I asked all the subjects, TLE, English, history, social science and sciences to integrate all their projects into one video. It's a travel vlog wherein there are different expectations. For social sciences, the historical background is focused. For science, the environmental campaign, how to protect the environment. Then, if there are problems that they have encountered along the way during the trip, they should be able to have the solution for which is the performance task or the exam for math. For TLE, we are doing slideshows because it's all about the lesson during this time was about technology, creating slideshows. And for English, we have the interview questions because during their trip, they are also advised to interview the soldiers, the tour guide, and the residents of the place. So, what are the proper interview questions? How can they build up their confidence? How can they prepare for interviewing? That's the focus of English. That when they present this vlog in class, these elements or aspects can be reviewed by the English teacher and feedbacks can be given not only by the teachers but also by their classmates who will more likely or most likely love their works as well because this is the trend nowadays. Vlogs. Then lastly, the end of this session. So what do you already know about the topic? What do you still want to know about this? You can also comment on that. What did you learn from this topic? I will also be requesting for your comments, okay, regarding what you learned or what resources do you think can help you when you create your own multimodal advocacy campaign or blog? You can also put that in the comment section. Next, difference. What will you do differently? Of course, there have been examples, there are things that we presented, but for sure, there are some things that you'd like to do differently. You can also mention that in the comment section. And if you still have questions, you may also include them. So what did you know? What do you still want to know? What did you learn? What resources helped you? What will you do differently? And what are your questions? You may include these aspects or you may choose from these aspects so that you can leave me a brief comment down below. In our following meetings, you can also evaluate the outputs or videos of other groups. And these are the ways to evaluate the message. If you want to know the purpose of the message or evaluate the multimodal text who created the message, do you think they are credible? They have the experiences to talk about them? What is the message? Is it fair and logical? What point of view? Is it just limited or did they consider different points of view? What images or sound catch your attention? What type of media is used? What are the strengths of the media format? If it is a blog or a poster, what are the strengths of this? Who is the target audience? And how may people coming from different cultures and background interpret the message? Of course, the same message may not be understood in the same level or same fashion when it comes to different types of listeners. What is the background of the message or its purpose? Of course, when we listen to any message, commercial propaganda, what is their purpose? So that we can segregate their purpose from their main message or from what is the truth. Of course, for commercials, one of their purposes or main goals is to sell the product. So they may possibly do everything and say everything just in order to achieve the goal, which is to sell more of their products. And how does it affect the presentation of the material or of the product? These are some of the topics in purposive communication. So I hope I'm still sharing my screen and my video is not clear. And if there are still some other comments, you may also leave it in the comment section or send me a personal message. During our class discussion, we may also clarify some of these things and instructions that we may have given. So again, to all my students from the different universities and the different subjects, hopefully you have found this material to be helpful, relevant, timely, and important to your course or subject. Once again, thank you so much to all, and may you have a great day. See you soon.